All right, we're live. Hey, everybody, if you don't know who I am, Mike Rivers, aka DV6. I run the page and also got the DV farm and the radio and all that. I've got Bo with me, going to help us along, and we got a retired deputy, police officer, whatever, who's going to, I'm trying to understand everything going on in the news and stuff. And also, too, he wants to get some stuff off his chest. I know. So, James, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine.
And Bo's going to help us out. You're here, too.
Yeah, I'm here. How's everybody doing tonight?
And just a reminder, we go live tonight on DV Radio for our weekly podcast. You can catch that at dvradio.net. At any time you watch this video, you can go over to the radio station and listen to past podcasts. But we do go live tonight, Saturday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, 2100. All right. So in recent events, we all know what happened with the school shooting. And as since the 14th, a lot of details have come out. And it's not painted a good light with law enforcement. And James, how many years were you on the police department or the sheriff? What exactly did you do? Give us a little bio on what you did and what kind of job you did with the sheriff's department.
I was a deputy on 19 years on the road at a local sheriff's department here, town about 100,000.
It's not a small town. I mean, my town's only 800, and Keene, New Hampshire is only 32,000. So that's a decent sized police force.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about this? Word is now that there's more than one deputy that didn't go in. But here's what I didn't know when I heard about the shooting, and I heard about they had an armed guard there. I was thinking of a rent-a-cop. It wasn't that, was it?
No, it was a deputy. It was a sworn officer of the law. I mean, he was hired. He was a county officer. Had 32 years, I believe it was, at that sheriff's office.
So schools have deputies and cops in them. I didn't know that. Like I said, I thought it was a rent-a-cop, and that kind of made sense why he didn't go in, because he's not a real cop, but or a police officer. But you know, what kind of individual gets a job like that at a school with a big police force like you're on? Is it something they reward people with?
A lot of the times, what happens is that you have road deputies. That's what we call them here.
Road, not rogue. Road deputies.
Right, road, as in they work the streets of the county. They'll be usually assigned a sector, either the north, south, east, or west. Or they'll have them divided up in even smaller subsets in larger counties, and that's where these school resource officers usually come from.
Yeah.
A lot of the times what that is that the deputies that work the streets have lost confidence in a officer. That this doesn't happen in every police department, but this happens at some, a lot.
You mean they lost confidence in him, like his fellow buddies or other cops are like, hey, I can't count on this guy, but you can't fire him?
Exactly. As in, if you're going to call somebody for backup, you pray this guy doesn't show up. And it's not because he's a bad person. It's because that he's lost his nerve. Maybe he's seen too much.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to get into the fight. Maybe his age is preventing him from getting into the fight.
But you don't think that's the case? I mean, after what we saw, I mean, this guy, while the shootings, what's going through your mind when you're hearing the news as a former Leo, that here's the time where there's actually a cop at the school that could have either prevented it or at least intervened and saved, stopped some of it. What's going through your mind? Are you upset right now with what's coming out in the news about how this officer acted?
This very unlike, I mean, it's rare to ever see this out of an officer, but if you're going to stay outside of a school whenever, after Columbine, before Columbine, you were supposed to wait until SWAT made entry on an active shooter. After Columbine, that went away. They started, the first responders were to go immediately in there and confront. And this particular officer staying outside.
Yeah, and now there's word that it wasn't just him. There were other people on the scene fast while the shooting.
Exactly.
You know.
There's also word that another police department, Coral Springs, had showed up there, and while their 4 officers, the school resource officer as well as 3 others from that same department stayed outside, then the Coral Springs department went in as soon as they got there. But the local sheriff's office were already there whenever Coral Springs had arrived.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, there's talk. I mean, what's the sense? Here it is. You got all these man hours put in patrolling that school, or I don't know what they do. Somebody in the comments said the same thing you said. They're called resource officers.
They're called school resource officers.
What kind of resources they provide? Not backup.
Well,
oh, sorry.
No. What they do is they basically there are a lot of truancy and fights, stuff that basically that you would call nowadays you'd call local outside law enforcement to arrest a kid for a fight. Whenever I was growing up, it wasn't like that. I mean, it was just
yeah,
at the most a suspension. But
so there's more than just standing there like a bank guard. He's actually, you know, helps in fights and stuff like that. Now,
absolutely.
What do you think about this guy being able to? Well, first of all, what do you think this guy's? For whatever reason, he didn't go in. This man now is retired. He's getting a very fat pension, which that's up to Broward County. And you know, he's getting. I heard you told me earlier that there's cops outside. Guarding the same cops that he embarrassed are guarding him now.
Yeah, they sure are. They're at his home. I mean, it's his police department or his sheriff's offices are the ones that are guarding his home now, and he'll probably need that for a long time.
Yeah,
Really quick, Six. I noticed a lot of people said that the resource officers aren't supposed to build a relationship between these kids. We're not talking about that. Whether you got a relationship or not with the people that you're protecting, that's your oath. Honestly, they took and swore an oath. I mean,
yeah,
he didn't follow it.
You know, it's been a rough several years for law enforcement, and now this comes out, which gives more ammo to the, well, pardon the pun, more ammo to the other side about what good does it do and this and that. And this, you know, one, you and I are friends, and you know, being 19 years on the force, it's just like when I can empathize with what you're going through. It's the same thing with when we found out that 4 of our Americans were pleading for help and never got it, and how angry we were. And now, you know, so like what law enforcement's going through, you know, what have you talked to your fellow officers or, you know, people that are still in, and what's going on? What's the current mood?
It's the same. The broad consensus is that this officer this deputy should have never been placed in that position to begin with. It goes from the sheriff that. What is his name? Israel Smith. He absolutely bears the responsibility for it because he should have never offered that assignment. That officer should have never taken that assignment. A lot of the times what they'll do is they'll take that assignment and pray that something like that never happens because they know they don't have the guts to go through with jumping into the firefight.
Now, you've heard some people say, oh, keyboard warriors, even if you were a former cop, you don't know, you weren't there. You know, you probably would have been scared too. What do you say to stuff like that?
If you don't have it in your heart 1,000% that you're going to go in there into that fight and not have a problem doing it, then you shouldn't have that job.
And the proof is in the pudding, where the some of the teachers actually died shielding their kids with no weapon. So don't tell me somebody. And most of us, you got a 15-year-old kid over there that held open a door for kids to get out, and you got a 53-year-old with 32 years of experience in law enforcement that stayed outside. Yeah, it's a damn shame. Because most people, yes, will run and all that, but the true testament is to those who stayed and did what they could, and then to think that as we're finding out later, there was help right outside.
Yeah. And those kids were sitting inside of that classroom because they had met this officer. They talked to him daily. The school resource officers, they interact with the kids. They know a lot of them by name, and they joke with them. And that they were inside of that school and they were terrified. Yeah. And they were saying, hey, this is going to stop any minute. He's going to be here. And they sat there and waited and waited. And the only person that stopped that whole damn thing was the fucking shooter.
Yeah. Well, I really don't know. Like I said, I am not a trained caseworker, counselor, or whatever. I can't tell you how to make you feel better or anything like that. But the anger and everything that's going through y'all's minds must just, how are you dealing with it?
You don't. You sit over there and you hurt, and you try to talk to people, but I mean, I just want everybody to know it's not a representation of law enforcement. That's not what we're about. Never have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
The courage that I've seen out of some of them, I mean, they go into a domestic. I went into a domestic. I was shot. The courage that it takes to go into somebody's house whenever they know the house, you don't know the house. They might have a gun, you don't know. And that's just it. It's just the typical law enforcement. But this guy and the other three that were outside with him, and it's not like that they had a stand down order or anything else. They didn't.
Yeah.
They stayed outside, and the only impression that anybody's getting out of them is that they were cowards.
Wow.
And especially whenever the other police department shows up and they go straight inside.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could be a typical vet. You're a vet yourself. What branch?
The Marine Corps.
Well, you can handle this humor. Maybe they were law enforcement monitors, not enforcers. Like that insurance commercial.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's about the extent of it. That's all they did.
And of course, you've got people like Lawrence O'Donnell and other people in the media. The bodies weren't even cold yet, where they're pitching this whole gun control and everything too. What's your thoughts on the whole gun-free zones? When you were on the force for 19 years, those signs work?
Not even once. I'm still, to this day, I still haven't found one place the gun-free zones sign has done any good whatsoever. And I'm wondering why they're even there. Why does it even exist?
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing it does is it tells people, hey, everybody else here doesn't have a gun. If you bring one in here, you're going to be already ahead of the game.
Just so we're clear for those that are listening, because I know someone's going to try to latch onto it. We're not talking about all law enforcement officers, but we all have our bad batches in every group. I mean, if it had been a soldier, we'd be doing the same conversation. We're just trying to have a conversation about an event that happened.
Yeah.
And because it discussed every single one of us.
Yeah, we're talking to, that's Bo on from DV Radio, the head of DV Radio, and we have on the phone James, who is a retired sheriff's deputy with over 19 years experience. He's trying to explain to me, make me see like how this guy, why he did what he did. He's not defending him. No, far from it. He's very angry. But I was trying to say, how does a guy like that get a job? And you said that's usually whoever is in charge is like, okay, this guy, you can't fire him, so we'll put him in a school. The guy that whoever made that personnel decision must be either.
Yeah, it would have been his captain at the time, and that's who would have made the decision, and he would have went along with it, I would assume, and not had a problem with it.
Unbelievable. Now,
he is not. I mean,
do you think he should have his? You think? So he retired. Can they still? Even he's technically not part of the police force, but the sheriff said they're going to have a investigation. What's going to happen? Anything?
The only thing that I could think that they could even possibly charge him with would be a willful negligence, and it would be so far-fetched that I can't ever see a jury convicting him of it.
Well,
because the law is so broad on that, and
yeah. Well, how angry are you at what this guy did?
I'm furious because it doesn't represent what law enforcement does. I've seen hundreds of very, very brave individuals take that job, and this coward just he's messed it up for all law enforcement, because none of those kids are ever going to trust that a cop again, ever. None of them that are inside that school. They're always going to have that little bit of a doubt.
Yeah.
I wonder, are they really going to come to my rescue?
Yeah.
I gotta say something about something I saw the other day, and I know it was probably a keyboard warrior, but a officer that's a female spoke up and said she's been in some hairy situations and all of that, and all I could think of was the SRO I had, because the guy commented back, just because you're a woman and you've given birth, yada yada yada, doesn't make you a hero and all this. And it sort of pissed me off, because when I was in high school, I remember, I think it was on our tennis courts, someone was out there with a knife or a machete or something. And as soon as she got the call, she ran straight up there. And she was pregnant by like 6 months.
Wow.
A woman, a black officer, pregnant by 6 months, ran to a guy wielding a machete that was throwing it around.
Wow.
I mean, whether it was man, woman, relationship with kids or not, you have a job, and your job is to protect and serve. That's the first thing that anybody thinks of.
Well, maybe if it was, there wasn't all this toxic. What was it again? You said toxic masculinity. And the only reason that people need ARs is because they want to be like Rambo and stuff like this. It's insane. They won't be happy until I take it away. A lot of things that are going on in the media, I'll say this again, it's if they broadcast, if they put it front and center on the news like they do with these shootings, all the Americans that are killed by illegals or drunk drivers or whatever, you'd be like, again? We got to do something about that. You're only reacting to to what they're putting in front of you. People need to form their own opinions and thoughts and stop regurgitating bullet points.
Well, speaking of regurgitating, Six, the funniest thing I've seen, and it's funny because it's ridiculous and how sad it is, the people that were talking about a year ago, actually, and a few months ago, about these cops pulling a gun on someone because they quote unquote thought they had a gun, or they were reaching in their waistband or whatever, and they shot and killed them, that you can wait, stand by, are the same ones now sitting there saying, this is disgusting, why did this cop not go into the
yeah, you make a, so
really?
Since I got a cop on the phone with me, tell me when people you catch a lot of flack for cops are quick to shoot and this and that, or tell me what kind of stress is it to get up every day to do a job 365 days a year or whatever, like for 20 years, where every stop could be your last stop because the guy can pull a gun at any time and blow your head off?
Here's what you do is you can legitimately walk up to a car just as a civilian and not know if somebody's going to spring out at you and shoot, and try to put your mind around that. And and I'm not talking about because you made somebody mad or somebody that you had a confrontation with on the road. I want you to walk up there to the car and just say, maybe somebody's going to pop out and shoot at me.
Hmm.
And try to put that in your head.
And do it day in and day out.
Every day.
Every day.
James, how many times during this whole fiasco have you seen, well, you weren't there, you don't know if you would have done the same?
I've seen it a few times, and I guarantee you every time that, and what my response was is I 100% have no doubt whatsoever. Even if I didn't have any a weapon on me, I would have went in there.
Absolutely. You know that a lot of people run towards the sound of when there's problems, gunfire, whatever it may be. Hey, Mark Singleton got a good idea. Why don't we take that fat fuck, or I don't know if he was fat, but that coward, and take his pension and give it to the families of those kids that were killed?
I think it'd be great. He'll get his pension, and that's something else too. Is it kind of makes me mad that it's not so much that I care if he's still going to get his pension, but I think that could be a reason why he was stuck there, so he could finish out his time.
Yeah.
Because and what the departments need to start doing is, instead of dropping the dregs for lack from the air.
You're breaking up. We need comms. You there?
Got me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple minutes left, so get out your finer points.
Instead of dropping the ones that aren't desirable to be on the road anymore into school resource, give the schools the prime ones. Give the schools the very good deputies. Can
you get complacent working in school?
100%.
Yeah.
You're not expecting anything all day long, and this guy obviously wasn't. Or
No,
was hoping.
All those years of training and money and just sitting there, and then that one time you needed him.
He was not there. He was outside cowering while children were in there dying.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and helping me understand. Like, I still don't agree with it. I know you don't, but now I understand how that guy, most likely probably got that job. And unfortunately, whoever made that decision has to live with that. And then that coward has to live with himself for however long he's got left. So,
yeah.
but thanks. Hey, guys, if you're listening to us, we're going to talk some more about this on our weekly podcast tonight on DV Radio, which airs Saturday nights at 9 p.m. East Coast time. Come join us over there. We'll talk more about that. Thanks. And if you like what you see here, hit the review tab, and don't forget to hit subscribe on Dysfunctional Veterans YouTube channel. And that's it. That's all we got. Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. Too many head injuries. Thanks, James. Thank you both for coming on.
Always, brother.
All right.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. We'll check in on you later, brother. Out of here.
Okay.